You only need to get good credit once. Bad credit can make you feel trapped. You see your score drops, you get spam with notifications telling you to do 100 different things, and every application feels like somebody else is controlling your fate. But just like with this meme here with the fence, there are workarounds with this. We can solve the issue. We can get around it. There's a way out of the situation, but it doesn't fix itself by just waiting. There's two ways that people stay stuck with bad credit. They wait for years, or they pretend that nothing is wrong. A lot of people will just assume every negative account, every bureau will clean itself up, or they'll just walk around like they can't see or hear the debt. They want to act like nothing is wrong. And ultimately, you can ignore it, but the consequences are going to keep coming. The fire is just going to get bigger and bigger. So bad credit doesn't just cost more. It starts deciding what you're actually allowed to do. Whether it's a car loan, they'll deny you, or they'll give you some insane 25% interest rate. An apartment, they're going to ask for a bigger deposit, a cosigner, or ask you to explain your past for the millionth time. And then life happens. Your car breaks down, your dog gets sick, a medical bill hits. And then your only option left is getting a payday loan, a predatory loan that is just going to sink you further and further into bad debt. Your credit is holding you back from the life that you want and forcing you to pay more for the one you don't. Credit is a foundation. You do not need to keep repouring it. We need to get this stuff right the first time and then not worry about it again. So to get a good credit foundation, you want to have multiple types of positive accounts with age and on-time payments without looking like you're borrowing too much right now for what you have on your plate. You want to have more than one type of positive account because banks want to see that other banks trust you with money. You want to have history of on-time payments so that they know you're not going to be late with their money. And three, they don't want you to look desperate. They don't want you asking a million different banks for money, and they want to see that you're responsibly using what you have access to right now. But not every bad mark behaves the same. Your credit report is a report card that you can actually fix. A late payment is one bad test. It hurts, but stronger payment history can make that one mistake less dominant over time. A collection or a charge-off is a failed class. Good grades somewhere else will not erase it. It remains separate negative data until it's resolved or no longer reportable. And that's what a lot of people wait for. Again, people love to wait for the problems to solve themselves, but you need to be proactive, whether it's a late payment or a collection. These things can be addressed and solved quicker than you think. And for each person, there's 3 different credit profiles. The same account reporting on your credit can tell 3 different stories, whether it's with Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion. It could have a completely wildly different story. Experian could say the account's present and correctly reporting. With Equifax, they could have an incorrect status or something that's off. And then TransUnion might not even show the account at all. So it's important that you have your 3 reports together to actually know what you're looking at. One clean bureau does not mean that all 3 are clean. You want to pull all 3 reports and compare the data, not just the scores. And another misconception a lot of people face: clean credit is not the same thing as strong credit. Removing the damage will get you back to 0, but that doesn't make it to where you have points on the board and banks want to lend to you. A clean report has no negative data, no collections, charge-offs, repossessions, or any other type of negative information being reported. That doesn't mean the bank's going to give you $50,000 just because you have nothing bad on your report. A strong profile has positive history that lenders can evaluate with age, limits, on-time payments, a credit mix, and controlled utilization working together. Clean gets you out of repair mode, and strong gives the lender something positive to judge. So here are some credit terms. There's collections. This is when somebody claims that you owe them money and they say that they never heard from you after that. These are usually, when it comes to credit repair, the easiest type of negative to fight because not all collection agencies are the same. There are ones who are operating on bad information. They're not actually following the law, or they're making some kind of regional mistake that you can dispute them on. And most of the time, they're not going to have a response back. So those fade away quite easily. Hard inquiries are another one. Hard inquiries are when you're asking different banks for money And each application that you do leaves a record that a lender checked your credit. Again, these are pretty small. These are the smallest negative item out there. And overall, they don't affect your credit too much, but these are also quite easy to remove. Next is account age. The more good payment history that you build over time, the more banks can see that you know how to pay them back. Think about it this way. If you have a friend that always asks to borrow $100 and he pays it back on time and maybe even gives you a little bit of interest, and he asks you for $1,000 one day, you might give it to him. Utilization. This is when you have a credit line. Let's say you have a credit card that has a $10,000 balance and you go ahead and use $8,000 on it. You are using 80% of what you have available. This makes it seem like you're desperate and you're strapped for cash because you're using so much of what you already have. The other banks aren't going to want to give you more until you finish what's on your plate. And here's a real example of someone we've worked with. A few months before he came to us, he had a car repossession on his credit report. The company that was reporting this repossession on his account had major mistakes, and they didn't even have complete data or proof tying the debt to him. We helped him get the repossession removed from his credit report in just 1 week. And as you can see here, he went from having a 590 credit score to a 684 in a few weeks from getting that repossession and the missed payments removed. But why are we fixing our credit? Why does it even matter, right? Good credit is not the prize in itself. It's the access of what it unlocks for you. Most people think the finish line is an 800 or a 750 score and a pat on the back. But the real value is learning how to turn your profile into leverage, whether it's 0% business capital, premium travel cards, points that basically pay for your expenses, and opportunities that most people do not know exist. So how many more years are you going to pay for the same problem? Every higher payment, every extra deposit, every opportunity that dies at a credit check is holding you back. If you're tired of bad credit deciding what you can afford and what you can access, Credit 101 gives you a game plan to fix what's wrong, build what's missing, and start opening better doors.